Most men ruin their own value without realizing it, not because they are weak, but because they care too much about someone who does not respect them. They chase, they beg, they try to prove their worth. But Stoic philosophy teaches something very different. A Stoic man never lowers himself for anyone, not for attention, not for validation, not even for love, because the moment you lower yourself, you lose your power. Today, I will show you 5 Stoic lessons that will change how you deal with women forever. And if you truly understand these lessons, you will never chase again. Before we begin, comment, "I am the prize." Lesson 1. Never beg for attention. Attention that must be begged for is not real interest, and the moment you understand this simple truth, your entire perspective begins to shift, because you start seeing your situation clearly instead of through the fog of hope and desperation that keeps so many men trapped in cycles of waiting, wondering, and humiliating themselves for a woman who already decided she will give you only the smallest crumbs of attention, just enough to keep you emotionally invested, but never enough to show genuine respect. And right now, many viewers watching this know exactly what that situation looks like, because you check your phone and notice she read your message hours ago and said nothing. Or she responds with one dry word after you wrote 3 thoughtful sentences. Or she disappears for days, then suddenly reappears when she is bored or lonely. And deep down you already know what this means, but you still try to explain it away because you want to believe she is busy, stressed, distracted, or confused, when the truth is much simpler and much harsher, which is that when a woman truly values a man, she does not behave this way. She does not treat his presence like an optional convenience she can pick up and drop whenever she wants. And yet many men still react the same way every time this happens, by sending another message, asking if everything is okay, trying to revive the conversation, trying to remind her they exist. And what they do not realize is that every extra message slowly lowers their value in her eyes, because she sees that you are willing to chase even when she clearly pulls away. And once she sees that, she understands something very important about you, which is that your attention is guaranteed. And when attention becomes guaranteed, it loses its value. So she relaxes into a position where she knows she can ignore you, and you will still remain there waiting, hoping she decides to give you a small piece of attention again. And this is the exact moment when Stoic discipline becomes essential, because Stoicism teaches that your peace, your time, and your dignity must never depend on another person's response, especially not a woman who already demonstrates that she does not prioritize you. And the Stoic approach to this situation is brutally simple yet extremely powerful, which is that you stop chasing attention completely and you redirect your focus to your own life, where your energy actually produces results instead of humiliation. You stop sending the extra message. You stop checking if she is online. You stop analyzing the meaning of every word she sends. You stop giving emotional reactions to someone who clearly benefits from your reactions. And at first, this feels uncomfortable because you are used to the pattern of seeking validation through her attention. But this discomfort is exactly where your strength begins to grow. Because the moment you detach from the need for her replies, you regain control over your own mind. And when she notices the silence, she starts asking questions she never had to ask before, such as why you stopped chasing and whether you are still available to her at all. And this is where the power dynamic begins to change, because a man who refuses to beg for attention becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability forces people to reassess their assumptions. And suddenly, the same woman who once ignored your messages starts checking whether you are still watching her stories, whether you are still present, whether she still has access to your attention. And even if she never returns, the real victory already happens inside you, because you finally understand that your worth is not determined by a notification on your phone, but by the discipline you practice daily in your life, the work you build, the body you strengthen, the skills you sharpen, and the calm confidence you develop when you stop seeking approval from someone who never planned to give it freely. And when you truly internalize this lesson, you walk through life differently because you no longer chase attention, you attract respect simply by refusing to lower yourself for it. And if this realization is hitting you deeply right now, if you are starting to recognize the patterns in your own life, and you know it is time to rebuild your self-respect and discipline from the ground up, then the Stoic relationship blueprint was created exactly for you. A powerful guide built on timeless Stoic principles that show you step by step how to reclaim control of your mind, your standards, and your life as a man. It is now also available as an audiobook, which means you can absorb these life-changing lessons while walking outside, training at the gym, driving or jogging, turning everyday moments into time that strengthens your mindset instead of wasting it over situations that once drained your energy. You will find the link in the comments, and once you get it, the knowledge is yours forever, something you can return to again and again whenever life tests your discipline, giving you permanent access to the principles that help you stand firm and never lower yourself again. Lesson 2. Respect yourself. First, respect from others begins with respect for yourself, and this sentence sounds simple until you truly examine your own behavior and realize how often you compromise your own standards just to keep a woman around who clearly shows she does not value you the way you value her. Because the uncomfortable reality many men face is that they tolerate treatment they would never accept from anyone else, simply because they are afraid of losing her presence in their life. So they overlook the rude comments, the last-minute cancellations, the inconsistent communication, the lack of appreciation, the subtle signs that she sees them as replaceable. And each time they overlook these things, they convince themselves they are being patient or understanding, when in reality they are slowly training her to believe that disrespect carries no consequences, and a woman pays very close attention to what a man tolerates, because what you tolerate tells her exactly how much you respect yourself. And if you constantly accept behavior that diminishes your dignity, she learns that she does not need to treat you with seriousness because you will remain available regardless of how she behaves. And this is where Stoic discipline demands honesty with yourself. Because Stoicism requires you to examine your actions and ask whether they align with the standards you claim to have. And if you claim to be a man of self-respect, but you remain in situations where your time, effort, and loyalty are taken for granted, then you are not living according to your own principles, and the Stoic response to this realization is not anger or bitterness toward her, but responsibility toward yourself, because you understand that people behave according to the boundaries you establish, and boundaries are not speeches or emotional ultimatums. They are decisions demonstrated through action, which means when she disrespects your time, you stop making yourself available. When she repeatedly cancels plans, you stop planning new ones. When she treats your attention like something disposable, you remove access to it completely. And many men hesitate to do this because they believe enforcing boundaries will push her away. But what they fail to understand is that the absence of boundaries already pushes her away because it signals weakness and lack of self-direction. And a woman may enjoy temporary control over a man who lowers himself, but she rarely values him long-term because she senses that he does not value himself strongly enough to protect his own standards. And when you adopt Stoic discipline, you begin to live differently because you decide that your principles are not negotiable for anyone, not for attraction, not for companionship, not for temporary affection. And this decision transforms your behavior because you stop performing for approval and start acting according to what you believe is right, regardless of who stays or leaves your life. And the remarkable effect of this shift is that people begin to treat you differently because they sense that your presence is guided by clear standards rather than emotional dependency. And a woman who once assumed she could treat you casually suddenly realizes that access to your time requires respect. And even if she chooses to walk away, you still gain something far more valuable, which is the knowledge that you protected your dignity instead of sacrificing it for someone who never truly earned it. And this is the essence of Stoic strength, because your identity becomes anchored in your own values rather than the approval of someone who may change her attitude tomorrow. Lesson 3. Control your emotions. Emotional control is one of the greatest strengths a man can develop because the world constantly tests your composure through situations designed to provoke impulsive reactions, and nowhere does this become more obvious than in interactions with a woman who understands that emotional reactions reveal exactly how much influence she has over you. Because when she delays her replies, gives mixed signals, or suddenly shifts her attitude, she is observing how you respond, and if your response is frustration, anxiety, or desperation, then she instantly learns that your emotional state depends heavily on her behavior, which places her in a position where she can easily influence your mood, simply by adjusting how much attention she gives you. And many men fall into this pattern without realizing it because they allow small actions from her to dominate their thoughts for hours, sometimes days, replaying conversations in their mind, trying to decode hidden meanings, or imagining worst-case scenarios that may not even exist. And while this mental cycle consumes their focus, their productivity drops, their confidence weakens, and their entire day revolves around interpreting signals from someone who may not even be thinking about them at all. And this is exactly why Stoic discipline emphasizes mastery over your own reactions, because external events are unpredictable, but your response to them remains entirely within your control. And when you train yourself to pause before reacting, you create space between what happens and how you respond, which allows reason to guide your behavior instead of emotion. So when she suddenly becomes distant, you do not rush to question her motives or seek reassurance. You simply observe the situation calmly and continue focusing on the responsibilities and goals that actually move your life forward. And when she attempts to provoke jealousy or attention through indirect actions, you recognize the pattern and refuse to reward it with emotional reactions because you understand that attention given to manipulation only encourages more manipulation. And this calm composure becomes extremely powerful because a man who cannot be easily provoked becomes difficult to control. And when she notices that her actions no longer trigger dramatic responses, she starts recognizing that your emotional stability does not depend on her approval, which changes the entire dynamic between you and even beyond relationships. This level of emotional discipline strengthens every area of your life because you stop allowing temporary frustrations to dictate your decisions. You handle pressure with clarity, you approach challenges with patience, and you maintain a steady mindset regardless of whether circumstances are favorable or difficult. And the deeper benefit of this practice is that you begin to experience a level of inner stability that most people rarely achieve, because your mood is no longer determined by someone else's behavior, but by the standards you choose to live by each day. And when a man reaches this point, he becomes extremely grounded, because his actions come from deliberate choice rather than emotional impulse. And that kind of presence commands respect naturally, without the need for loud displays or dramatic confrontations. It simply comes from the quiet strength of knowing that no matter how unpredictable people around you may behave, your own mind remains steady and disciplined, and that is the essence of Stoic power applied to everyday life. Lesson 4. Walk away from disrespect. One of the strongest actions you can take in life is the quiet decision to walk away from disrespect without explaining yourself, without begging someone to understand your value, and without remaining in a situation where your dignity slowly erodes day after day while you pretend everything is fine, just to keep a woman in your life who clearly treats your presence as something she can take or leave whenever it suits her mood. Because many men watching this right now already recognize the pattern where she speaks to you with a tone she would never use with someone she actually respects, where she cancels plans at the last moment as if your time carries no weight, where she disappears when you are available but suddenly returns when she wants attention again. And each time this happens, you try to reason with yourself that patience will fix things, that understanding her situation will somehow inspire her to appreciate you more. Yet the uncomfortable truth is that she already understands exactly what she is doing, and she continues doing it because she knows there are no consequences for her behavior. And the moment a woman learns that a man will tolerate repeated disrespect simply to keep her around, she immediately places him in a category where he is useful for attention, but not valuable enough to command genuine respect. And that is where many men lose themselves, because instead of protecting their dignity, they start negotiating with disrespect, as if respect is something that must be earned through endurance. Yet Stoic discipline teaches something radically different, which is that your character and self-command must never be traded for temporary affection, because the second you accept treatment that contradicts your principles, you silently tell the world that your standards are flexible whenever your emotions become involved. And the way you apply Stoic principles here is not through dramatic confrontations or emotional speeches, but through clear, decisive action, which is the willingness to remove yourself completely from any situation where your presence is treated casually. And this decision is powerful precisely because it requires no explanation, since your absence speaks louder than any argument ever could. And when you stop responding to disrespect by trying harder and instead respond by stepping away, you shift the entire dynamic, because suddenly she is confronted with the consequences of her own behavior, rather than the comfort of knowing you will always remain available regardless of how she treats you. And while some women will simply move on to the next source of attention, that outcome actually works in your favor because it removes someone who never valued your presence in the first place, while other women will begin questioning why you stopped tolerating what you previously accepted. And this is where many men experience the temptation to return the moment she sends a casual message or shows the smallest sign of renewed interest. Yet Stoic discipline demands consistency, which means your standards remain firm, regardless of how circumstances change, because your principles are not tools to manipulate outcomes, but foundations that guide your actions at all times. And when you live by this discipline, you begin to notice a powerful shift, not only in how women treat you, but in how you see yourself, because every time you walk away from a situation that diminishes your dignity, you reinforce the belief that your time, attention, and energy are valuable resources that cannot be accessed without respect. And that belief gradually transforms your presence, because people recognize when someone carries himself with the quiet confidence of a man who does not cling to anyone for validation. And once you internalize this lesson, you stop trying to convince people to treat you well and instead focus on building a life where your standards naturally filter out anyone unwilling to meet them, which places you in control of your own direction instead of living as a passive participant in someone else's shifting preferences. Lesson 5. Focus on your purpose. A man who is deeply focused on his purpose becomes almost impossible to manipulate, because his attention is invested in building something meaningful rather than orbiting around a woman whose approval constantly fluctuates according to her mood and convenience. And this is where many men discover a painful realization about their own lives, because when they honestly examine their daily routines, They recognize that a large portion of their energy is spent thinking about a woman who occupies their mind far more than she occupies their life, checking her messages, wondering what she is doing, imagining scenarios about where the relationship might go, and while these thoughts consume their attention, the rest of their life remains stagnant because their goals receive only leftover energy after their emotional focus has already been drained by someone who may not even view them as a priority. And this imbalance creates a situation where the woman becomes the center of their psychological world, even though she has not demonstrated the level of loyalty or commitment required to justify that position. And once a man realizes how much time he has invested in this pattern, the Stoic response is not resentment toward her, but responsibility toward himself, because he understands that his own lack of direction created the space where obsession could grow. And when purpose enters a man's life, that entire structure collapses, because his mind becomes occupied with objectives that demand discipline, planning, and consistent effort, such as strengthening his body, expanding his knowledge, advancing his work, and building a life that reflects his highest standards rather than his lowest impulses. And when you begin structuring your days around meaningful progress, you quickly notice that your need for external validation begins to fade, because your sense of worth now comes from tangible actions you take every day instead of unpredictable attention from someone else. And this shift dramatically alters how women perceive you, because a man who is clearly committed to his own direction radiates a different kind of presence that signals independence and self-command, which makes his attention far more valuable precisely because it is no longer easily available to anyone who simply asks for it. And while many men attempt to appear confident through superficial behavior, true confidence grows naturally from the knowledge that you are actively building something significant with your time and effort. And that knowledge changes how you interact with women, because you no longer approach them from a position of need, but from a position of choice, where their presence is welcome, but not required for your sense of fulfillment. And ironically, this is often the exact point where women begin showing greater interest, because they recognize that your life does not revolve around gaining their approval. Yet even then, Stoic discipline reminds you to remain grounded, because your purpose remains the central pillar of your life, regardless of who enters or leaves it. And when you maintain this focus, you transform what once felt like a frustrating experience with women into a powerful catalyst for personal growth, since every moment that previously would have been wasted. Overthinking her behavior is now invested in developing the skills, strength, and discipline that elevate your life, far beyond the limited horizon of seeking validation from someone who never intended to provide it consistently. And as this transformation unfolds, you begin to see that the greatest victory was never convincing a woman to stay, but becoming the kind of man whose direction and self-command place him in a position where his time becomes too valuable to spend chasing anyone who does not clearly recognize his worth. Most men will ignore everything you just heard and continue chasing validation, wasting years of their lives trying to earn attention from women who never planned to respect them. Because the truth is, society benefits when men stay distracted, emotionally dependent, and easy to control. But the moment you take ownership of your discipline, your standards, and your direction, everything changes. If you are ready to break out of that trap and rebuild your mindset with the Stoic Relationship Blueprint, a powerful guide filled with timeless Stoic principles that can transform your life immediately, now also available as an audiobook you can listen to while walking, training, or jogging, then go to the link in the comments and make it yours forever. And if you are serious about this shift, comment "unshakable." Like the video and subscribe so more men can find this truth before they waste another year of their lives chasing the wrong things.